Good morning, everyone. So, I want to continue the lesson on memory. So, now earlier we did the part on what is memory. This is chapter 7, grade 11. Okay, now in the first part we did what is memory, what is the definition of memory, how is memory and the mind and the brain compared to the computer, like the input, the encoding part, the storage, and then the output and the retrieval. Retrieval can come in two ways, either recall or recognition. Okay. Recall is nothing but your rote learning, like how you do multiplication tables. You remember in 2 minutes and then you give it back. So that is recall, or you recall your vivid memories that have happened long back. And recognition is an example of recognition would be your MCQs. Out of five, you choose one. You sort out and then you find out the missing picture. That is nothing but recognition. Then we studied about the Atkinson Shiffrin's model of memory, that the information or the stimuli is stored first or got in the or it has come in the sensory memory. From the sensory memory it comes into the short term memory through the rehearsals that happens, maintenance rehearsals that happen, and the chunking process. And then from the short term memory, the information goes into the long term memory from the elaborate rehearsals and sustained attention. Earlier it is selective attention, now it is sustained attention that happens. Okay, that's how your whole perception forms, and that's how the information gets stored in the long term memory. And then we studied about the divisions of the long term memory. Okay, now in the long term memory we have procedural memory and then we have non procedural. So procedural memory and declarative memory. Okay, now procedural is nothing but all our unconscious memories. For example, all our habits, all our skills and practices, the experiences that we have done, like riding a cycle, learning to cook, all of this that we can't forget after some time period. Maybe there's some sort of a saturation point, but again after a few years also, maybe after a couple minutes of learning, it'll all come back to you. So that is your procedural memory. And the declarative memory is all your facts, your figures, all your general knowledge, all of that, whatever you have learned, the rules, all of that comes into your declarative memory. So procedural memory is also the unconscious memory. It's also called as implicit memory, all your unconscious. And the explicit memory is also called as the declarative memory. Now, in declarative memory, you have semantic and you have episodic memory. Now, episodic memory are all your traumatic events and all your happy memories that you have stored in your lifetime. It could be your parents' 25th anniversary, your first birthday, your fifth birthday, your graduation day. All of that are your special peak experiences that have happened to you. So that is nothing but all your of your episodic memory. Now, on the other hand, now we have what is the semantic memory. Semantic memory is again on the same lines as the declarative memory, all the facts, figures, all your general knowledge, how you give meaning to it, all the meaningful like the meanings, how you make sense of the perception, all of that comes into your your semantic memory. Now, apart from all of this stuff, we have to know that how can memories be improved. Now, first technique of memory improving techniques is also called as mnemonics with an M. Mnemonics, mnemonics. Now, what are mnemonics? Mnemonics are memory improvement techniques. So now, as I said earlier, that whenever you study memory or anything in psychology, one part is the normal, the other part are the abnormal. Although you can even consider it as a slow learners or borderline intelligences. So you have to understand how do they form memories and how they can remember situations and things. So for a normal individual, maybe who has an IQ of maybe 90 to 110 range, how do we learn? How do we process the information we know? But how do we learn to improve our memory? How can we learn things easier? There's the first technique is the first letter technique. So that is called as the acronyms. Like for example, the colors of the rainbow, we say VIBGYOR, VIBGYOR. So it's easier for us. The first letter of everything, we form an acronym. So that thing becomes easier. So sometimes some children, I've noticed that out of each chapter they'll write down the important points, and they make one initial, and they make one sort of a acronym out of it. Okay, fine, chapter 1, this is the acronym. Chapter 2, this is the acronym. So these are any ways and methods that makes it easy for you to study. It can differ from individual to individual. Maybe for some people acronym doesn't work, but for some people acronym works, right? So then again it depends over there, that particular situation, right? Then apart from that, you have like method of loci, they call it. It's something like, loci means places. So now for example, now if you have forgotten, say, your key, you don't know where to find it, so how are you going to actually think? What are you going to do? So what you're going to do is that you're going to go backward, slowly. Okay, I was here, then I was there, then over there. You're going to go backward. Maybe then, oh my god, then maybe I think I've left it in the kitchen. So you try to visualize that particular place where you have left your key. So that is also one way of remembering things, right? So like these, there are few memory improvement techniques. Some people, they prefer the PQRST method. Some people, they just prefer it key, but ultimately, see, unless and until the first quoting has to be learned, then after some time, relearning. So what is learned can be relearned after a period of time, right? And what is learned can be unlearned, and what is unlearned can be relearned also. So of course, when the relearning process takes place, definitely what happens is, when the relearning process takes place, the time is saved, right? So basically, this is what I wanted to tell you today. This is just a brush up on the session on memory. So I'm sure by now all of you have, it's very clear how to improve memory. And again, for the slow learners or the children who have borderline intelligences or the learning disability children who prefer visual learning, auditory learning, or kinesthetic learning, we have to see what suits them the best and apply that activity for them. And for slow learners, definitely it takes time. So you have to go on repeating, go on rehearsal, relearning, slowly, make maybe the chunking, cut it into bits and pieces, and then teach them. You have to teach them variety of ways, whatever it accepts them. That is the reason special educators have to have a lot of patience, and they have to have a passion for teaching. If you lose your cool, then the child is not going to learn. They are going to get further blackout. They will become blank, and whatever little bit they have learned and memorized, that will also go. So we don't want their learning to be associated with something like a punishment or some hit or something by the teacher. We want them to have new memories, good memories of that particular chapter. So maybe, they can associate that particular learning. Fine. My teacher, she gave me a gold star that day when I studied that particular chapter. So every time he studies that chapter, he will remember that gold star. That is nothing but our classical conditioning that we have done by Pavlov also, right? And of course, learning by reinforcements also help a great deal. So when you learn, you get a positive reinforcement, or you get a negative reinforcement, or any sort of a thing, praise, a reward, internal or external, that definitely improves your learning and also will improve your memory, right? Thank you.